The Tao of Self-Confidence, episode 152. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of successful women finding their inner journey to self-confidence 5 days a week. Subscribe to our newsletter by visiting thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap-Chan, and today I have a special lady on today. I'm actually a little bit excited, so I'm really glad she said yes to the interview, but she is the founder of the Red Hot Copy. You know, she's a phenomenal copywriter, and I'm just really grateful to have her on. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Lorrie Morgan-Ferrero. Lorrie, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
Yes. Hi, Sheena. It's really great to be on here. I wish I were with you in Hawaii. That would be awesome. But meanwhile, I am a copywriter, a direct response copywriter, and my company's Red Hot Communications, but Red Hot Copy is what people basically know me as. And I've been in the business since the early 2000s, and I sort of got in it accidentally. I have a writing background. I have a journalism degree, and I basically wanted to stay home with my kids in the 2000s and just didn't get a job after being in corporate America. And I got a client that was a copywriter. He wanted me to copyright. And I'm like, what the heck is that? And so he showed me, like, he wanted me to write 52 autoresponders. And I just totally fell in love with the genre. I didn't realize people got paid to do this. And so, what I do is salesmanship in print or now, in bites online and whatnot. So that's basically what copywriting is. And at the time, it was just kind of getting on the internet, and a lot of people didn't know for instance, I didn't know where to go find out more about it. And so it took a long time, but I ended up finding out who the best of the best were, and I studied with them. So Gary Halbert, for people who know copy, like the Prince of Print, they call him. He's amazing. He's passed now. And John Carlton, who is one of my dear friends who I still go to for advice and mentorship all the time. And Dan Kennedy, who's, Dan Kennedy. So I have a really good pedigree for writing, but what I'm really known for is writing to reach to women, because women and men speak a little bit of a different language when it comes to, what appeals to them and makes them actually buy. It's real subtle, but it's very powerful if you know the difference. So that's who I am.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And Lorrie, what's your cultural background?
It's so mixed up. It's basically I'm Scottish and Irish with like a little splash of French, and it's funny because my son performed in a Scottish program called The Fringe a few years ago, and I was so excited. My husband and I went to watch him perform. And I was excited to go to Ireland because I thought, I have red hair, I'm Irish, right? So when I get there, I can't do an Irish accent, so I won't even try to hurt your ears. But they are basically telling me, oh no, you're Scottish, your people like raped and stole from Irish people. And I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry, I didn't realize. So I'm the Douglas clan, my maiden name is Douglas. So we had a big part in Scottish history. And so it turns out I'm mostly Scottish. And I'm very proud of that, too. We loved Scotland also. And then I also have a little bit of American Indian in me, Blackfoot Indian. I'm like 1/16 Blackfoot Indian. My husband's like, you should go get casino money. I'm like, no, I don't think that's how it works. So that's how it is. Yeah, that's me.
Awesome.
I'm a mutt.
Nice. Thanks for sharing that. And Lorrie, what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
I say this to myself all the time, and it's one by Esther Hicks, she's like a channeler, and she says, if it's not hell yes, it's hell no. So it's like, if you don't really want something 100%, then just don't do it. And that literally, it's been a difficult time for me it's difficult for me to weigh out all the opportunities I have. And so that's kind of my compass, actually. It's a really fun quote to keep in the back of your mind.
I love that because, sometimes we have to learn to say no to things,
yes.
Right?
That's right.
And, as women, we love to just say yes to everything because we want to please everybody. And, sometimes we just have to learn to say no because it's not for them, it's for us. We have to learn how to take care of ourselves and love ourselves and be able to say no to the things that don't serve us. So that's a really great quote. I love that. Thanks for sharing that. And in your own words, how would you define self-confidence?
Well, it's self-confidence is kind of feeling at ease and not really worrying about other people's petty judgments, because especially now, as you know, being online, people will come at you with their opinions and their hate. And it's being able to just really stand grounded on your own and know that you're you and you're valuable, and what is coming at you is not, it's not what's inside you.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And yeah, especially nowadays, like being online is crazy, right?
Yeah.
So many people get backlash. I get messages is like, you shouldn't talk this way and you shouldn't say these certain words. And I'm just like, all right.
Well, right. Yeah, I know. It's there's one of my favorite songs it was remade by No Doubt. I forget who did it, but it's called "It's My Life." It's my life. Don't you forget it. I'm not going to sing to you again. Really bad idea. You'll lose listeners. But it's my life. It's your life. And yeah, people may not agree with everything we say or do, but at the end of the day, this is our little journey, and it's really not up to other people. We have to be secure enough in ourselves that we're living our lives.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, great definition. Thanks for sharing that. And what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
Well, it's funny because I still waver on self-confidence. I don't always have it. I don't have it every day. I don't have it every minute of every day. But I kind of got it at a pretty early age, fortunately. So here's the deal. When I was in high school, I grew up in North Carolina mostly, but I also lived in Georgia, Ohio, Minnesota, and Missouri, and Kentucky. So before I got out of high school, I had moved 16 times. And that made it really easy for me to make friends. You could go either way, right? So you could either kind of just get out there and make friends, or you could just be completely isolated. And so I always made friends, but then I moved on, and then that was, the new friends. And so it was always sort of like a new world. And when it didn't really matter until I got into high school. And I actually did go to the same high school for 3 years. So I was able to, kind of forge friendships that lasted a little bit longer and were a little more, intense. And so I realized that this is kind of silly, but I realized that I wasn't popular, but everybody liked me, but I wasn't popular. And I had about maybe 1,500 students at my school. And so what I did was I kind of stopped, I pulled back and I studied what do people do who are popular? How do they act? How do they talk? How do they move? And I started mimicking them, like cheerleaders and people, and I started joining clubs. I was in every club, actually. I was the editor of my yearbook and my newspaper at the same time. I was in the drama club. I was in band. I was a joiner. I was in all kinds of things. And I literally got voted as the most confident person in the whole school in my senior year, which was kind of funny because I still had, inside, I still had doubts and I still do, like I mentioned. But that was kind of my self-awareness, was like, if you don't like something about yourself, then kind of sit back and study what you do like about other people and sort of bring those into your world, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally. That's pretty cool that you're able to just, study them and kind of put it into your own spin. And, were there points in your life when you realized, you were able to do the things that you've always wanted to do? You said you were in corporate America and then you kind of went into copywriting. Like, what was that moment in your life when you realized, you were able to work from home and live the life that you want?
Well, that, I got to tell you, that took some time. Like, it didn't happen overnight. It took a few years for me to kind of figure out my way. And I had never run a business on my own either. So I was learning how to run a business and delivering content for people and learning the internet and balancing, raising two sons. And I was also in a brand new marriage, my second marriage, my final marriage, trust me. We're not doing this again. But what really drove me to that was leaving corporate America. And I didn't tell you this part of it, but what spawned that was because I really felt that I needed to be home with my kids again. And at that stage, they were in middle school. I can't remember the exact age, but I could probably do some math and figure it out. But they were young enough that they still needed their mom, and I needed to take time off work, to go see their recitals or to take them to doctor's appointments. And I had to, beg for time off work. And I hated it. And we missed each other because I had been a stay-at-home mom before I got divorced the first time. So it was really, that was the impetus that kind of pushed me to working from home. So not as much like confidence as just this maternal drive, if that makes sense.
No, totally. And, sometimes, you might need a different force to push you to do what you want to do, right?
That's right.
Like, especially for mothers, when they see their kids, it's like, I have to do something different for my children because I don't want them to, maybe be in that same path or be able to realize that they can do what they want to do. So, I mean,
right.
In a way, sometimes you need another force to have that confidence to go out there and leave corporate America because, when you leave a job like that, most people are like, are you crazy?
That's right. Oh my God.
What were you thinking? There goes your security, things like that, right?
Your 401k. What are you thinking? Exactly right. All those things.
Yeah. So, I mean, that still takes courage to do, especially for a woman, right? Because they're like, women, should do this and do that and yada, yada, things like that. So, after that, what's your life have been now?
Well, it's, because I had such a powerful impetus to start my own business, and I wanted to do really, really well. And I did my work. I got my skill set up to where I'm, one of the top quote unquote copywriters. But at any rate, I'm an A-lister. Let's put it that way. So what my life is like now is when I go. I mean, I'm really blessed to be very networked in now. So I know a lot of people, like wherever I go to events and work related things. And that's the only place that confidence really affects me. Because if I'm at a cocktail party or, any sort of a luncheon, or even if I'm in the grocery store, I will strike up a conversation with anybody. And I can talk to a homeless person or I can talk to a prince. I'm just very comfortable talking with anybody. And I believe that a lot of that has to do with moving a lot and having to, kind of being thrust into different situations where you just didn't know. And also another part of it, Sheena, is growing up in the South. Because whenever I go back and visit the South, I notice the manners are so nice. Their servers are really genuine and they really they ask about you and they really want to know how you are. And I don't think that it's just a very unique area, a unique mannerisms as opposed to where I live now, which is in Los Angeles. And people just go about their own business. They don't ask you things. They don't really, care or anything. So at any rate, I bring that part, sort of my homespun girl attitude, and knowing that I'm really solid in my networking for Red Hot Copy. And so that helps me, bring a lot of self-confidence. But like I mentioned before, I don't always feel it. I get afraid of things. I get afraid to take risks. I'm still on the entrepreneurial, up and down. Sometimes I'm doing great. Sometimes I'm not doing great. I mean, if people say that goes away, they're probably not telling you the whole truth. As entrepreneurship is a roller coaster, and you really have to grasp your confidence and work on it. And so I will do things like I'll have little affirmations on Post-its around my computer, like keep your sense of humor and stay in the moment and things like that. And if I'm feeling really crappy, I'll dance to music that I like, or I'm learning to play drums. I've been doing that lately, and just change my attitude. So what I'm just saying is it doesn't matter how you appear confident to anybody. We all have bad days. I'm sure Oprah has bad days too. And, it doesn't ever go away.
Awesome. And I totally agree. I mean, self-confidence is like a work in progress for life, right? It's never going to be like rainbows and butterflies every single day.
No, and it would be boring.
Yeah.
I mean, it would.
Totally. You just keep going, right? That's why we have to work on ourselves every single day. So, Lorrie, to the woman who's listening to your episode, she may be on her own journey to self-confidence. What would be that one tip you'd give to her?
That everybody else is feeling the fear just like you, that don't be so hard on yourself. People are so absorbed in what they're doing right or wrong, and nobody really has the answer. So just, ground yourself and center yourself and trust yourself, and you'll go far, because you actually have all the inner answers for yourself. And when you let other people make those decisions for you, then you turn into a pretzel. So don't do that.
Awesome. Great tip. And Lorrie, if our listeners would like to get to know a little bit more of what you do and who you are, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Well, yes. RedHotCopy.com is, of course, the hub. That's where everything basically is. And I have products and trainings, free trainings too, on storytelling, which is my latest fun thing. I have that Facebook storytelling challenge that anybody can join. And I think you can get there through redhotcopy.com as well. And on Facebook also, Red Hot Copy, and Twitter at Red Hot Copy. So that's basically the one that will get you hooked in. But if you go to my main site, I think you'll find pretty much everything that I'm doing.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you would like to connect with Lorrie, you can also head on over to thetowofselfconfidence.com and search for Lorrie's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else we talked about. And I really just want to thank Lorrie for taking her time to share her story with us. So thank you so much.
It was fun. Thank you.
Not a problem. To our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence, and we'll catch you later. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to another amazing episode of The Tao of Self-Confidence. Check out our resources to help you jumpstart your inner journey to self-confidence by visiting thetaoofselfconfidence.com.